Andre Agassi once said, "Image is everything." In this episode of Uncover, we speak to Carl Clarke, an esthetician, and we will speak, what else? Image. Take it away, Jasmine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncover, the podcast about delivering the truths in business and in life. I'm your host, Jasmine Sandler, and I'm thrilled to present my guest today, Carl Clarke, who's going to deliver the truths about kind of a very complex world about aesthetics, medical clinics, medical spas, Botox. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm very happy to be here.
Very good. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions today, but before I get going, I'd like to tell the audience just a little bit about your background. So for everyone out there, Carl Clarke is a board-certified physician assistant, an aesthetic medical trainer. We're going to talk about that today because that's important, delivering education, and a key opinion leader in a subspecialty of something called cosmetic medicine. He's known as Clarke, just for everybody out there, and he's devoted himself to the art of aesthetic medicine. So he's going to talk today about how it's both an art and a practice of medicine. And he's dedicated to the whole science of reversal of the visual aging self. And in today's image-conscious world, it's very important. He's a leader in holistic body health. And his medical background, I think, is very interesting and different. And that's why I asked him to be on the podcast today, because he actually has a background in orthopedics, neurology, family practice, and hand and cosmetic surgery. Today, Carl has his own medical practice. He'll tell us about his medical clinic in Astoria. And welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I may have butchered your bio.
No.
And usually I can say that most guests, they tell it better themselves. So can you tell us about your background? Most importantly, how and why did you get to where you are today?
Well, I did have an extensive history in orthopedics and internal medicine and so forth, but I've always had a longing for cosmetic medicine. I am an artist. I have many hobbies, and art was just something I love. And medicine and art, just cosmetic medicine. So in 2003, 2004, there was Botox. Botox was a buzzword. Everyone was doing Botox.
Right.
And at that time, it was hard to get into the cosmetic world because the cosmetic world was just surgery, mostly surgery. And so I took many courses. I shadowed many physicians, and I got into the field. So now it's been about 13, 14 years that I've been practicing cosmetic medicine, and it's been a journey.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting that it's been a journey in a space that's like, in my space, digital, right? Where we see things explode rapidly and they're always changing. So I have a lot of questions around that in terms of your journey. First of all, how have you kept up with the changes that have gone on?
Well, number one is continuing education. There's always room to learn. And this industry has changed rapidly. Old techniques from 2003, 4, 5, and 6, it's not the same techniques we use today. Products and devices from 10 years ago, they've changed, they've modified, they've gotten better. We have much longer lasting results. We have much higher volume fill, and we have much nicer lips, for example, today than we did in 2004, 5, and 6.
So can you talk a little bit about, on that journey, how maybe the patients have changed, the people that have gotten involved as practitioners in the industry have changed?
Absolutely. We find that, or I find that age groups matter. 20 plus, 30 plus, tend to want something different than 40, 50, 60 plus in years. So you'll find the younger generation, the Kylie Jenner generation, the Kim Kardashian era, they're more for lips, more of a nice pout, smoother lines, smoother smile lines as well. You find the 40 and 50 plus, they're looking for enhancement of deflated zones like the cheeks, the changed jawline and so forth. And then the 50 and 60 plus, they're just looking for a general fill, an overall volume fill, nice enhancement, looking like a better version of themselves. Mm-hmm. Not looking tired, not looking stressed, but just looking smooth and relaxed.
Mm-hmm. And what about the people that I know that I mentioned up front that you do training. So who are the people that you train and how has that changed?
It's very interesting. I started training peers and colleagues in cosmetic medicine around 2006, 2007. And the reason I got into training was because some of the trainings that I had was pretty much, it wasn't the greatest.
Right.
They were good, but they weren't, something was missing. My patients were not having the best possible results that I would have loved. I wasn't seeing the results that I thought I could have gotten. So I did a lot of investigating. I took many seminars, and I found that many of the old training is being regurgitated back into the market, back into new practitioners, new aesthetic injectors. Right. So they're getting the same training that they were getting in 2006. Over manipulation, injecting way too deep into the dermis, not using the right product for the right area, using one product for everything, it didn't make any sense to me. So we have many different products. So there's toxins, and toxins are made up of Dysport, Botox, and Xeomin. Those are the three botulinum toxin products available in the US market to relax the frown lines and the crow's feet and so forth. There's a new indication for forehead lines that Allergan just received using Botox. So let's talk about fillers now. What are fillers? Fillers are used to volume enhance. For example, deflated cheeks, deflated lips, heavier lines on the nasolabial fold, just areas that need a little enhancing because there's some loss of volume or loss of integrity of the tissue. So fillers give you volume. Botox, Dysport, Xeomin gives you relaxation on the muscles and relaxation on the lines. To remove lines, you'll use Botox, Dysport, or Xeomin. To enhance and lift and give fullness to the lips or the cheeks, you'll use a filler. Fillers, there are three main groups of fillers. You have the Restylane group, which includes silk, lift, refine, define, and regular. There's also Sculpture, which is an amazing product for enhancement as well. In the Juvederm group, there's the Juvederm SL, Juvederm Ultra Plus, Voluma, Volbella, Velour, and these are used in different areas of the face for enhancement as well. And then there are the MERS products, which is Radius and Bellatero, and these are also for volume enhancement. And then there's Artifil, which is a longer lasting dermal filler. All of these fillers are amazing. All of them are used for different areas, some of them interchangeably, but no one product goes everywhere. There's an amazing product, Radius. It's a calcium filler. This is a heavy filler to go in areas where there's a lot of muscle activity. So if you put a light filler where there's a lot of muscle activity, it cannot last long. So we will use something like maybe Radius, or maybe a Restylane Lift, or a heavy Juvederm product. Then there are particular products like Restylane, and there's more fluid-like products like Juvederm, and there's in between. The specs on the product determine where you place the products in the face, on what thickness of skin you put the product as well, and the age group of the individual. So how do we age? Bone loses volume, muscle reduces in size, fat becomes softer, and gravity takes hold, and skin kind of droops and drapes over the fat. So you have multiple structures that age in any one given time. So aging is very complex. say for example, a patient comes to me and they're asking for lip enhancement, or they're asking for enhancement of the nasolabial folds, but I notice that the cheeks are very flat, and might be one reason that the nasolabial fold doesn't look that great. So sometimes we would change or revolumize certain areas to enhance other areas.
Interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask you about, it's from a scientific standpoint. Obviously, you're looking at the products and the consistency of the products, makeup of the products, to understand how to administer these, right? But I think it goes deeper than that, right? I think it goes to understanding people's faces and what their own objectives are, and there's a little bit of art in there. So can you talk about how you approach that, how you work with clients?
Well, the consultation is very important. In a consultation, which should be free, and most consultations, as I know it, are free. A consultation is there for the medical provider, which could be a nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or a medical doctor. So those are the three entities that are able to inject. As long as you have a medical degree to operate in the state, you can partake in aesthetic medicine. So the consultation is the most important part. That's where the provider gets to learn the patient.
Yeah.
Why are you coming for enhancement? That's one of the first questions. And then what areas are you more concerned with? Because sometimes enhancing one area does wonders for other areas.
Makes sense.
And not. For example, if you're enhancing the lips, and your nasolabial folds are very deep, the mental crease or commissures are very deep, your lips are not going to look that great. So sometimes you have to combine the treatments and to give a patient what they want. If a patient comes and tells you, I want Juvederm, obviously this patient doesn't know.
They don't know. Yeah.
And therefore, the consultation would guide the patient to which product best suits that patient, in which area of that patient's face. So the consultation is key. You must have a very informed consultation. That consultation should last maybe 15-20 minutes. You should not be in and out in 5 minutes on a consultation. Your provider needs to get to learn your face and which products represents the best result for your face.
And I imagine that you have different conversations with different people, because some people maybe have gone to other service providers and some people are just brand new to this. So is there a way that you address them differently?
Absolutely. I would say, don't quote me on this, but maybe about 5 to 10% of the patients I see they're coming to me to correct what was done elsewhere. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else is doing subpar work, but sometimes there's a relation between not so great results and the products that are being used and the medical provider who's injecting those products. I would say the way I handle the scenarios is to really understand what a patient is asking for based upon what they have. For example, if you're looking for Kylie Jenner's lips, for example, but you don't have the face structure to support that, where it really won't look so natural, or it won't look good. It's my duty to inform you that this may not be the best option. The better option may be a different style of lip that may make wonders and may even look better than the lips that you thought would have looked good for yourself.
So what advice can you give for consumers that are just looking to start on this journey? Maybe they want to improve their image. Where do they start if they've never done it before?
Reviews are helpful, but reviews are not necessarily the best way to go. It's hard to see a practitioner with 500,000 reviews and they're all 5 stars.
I just saw something actually on NBC last week about doctors, particularly doctors in the Los Angeles area, that had all these fake reviews, and they got called out on it and destroyed their business.
Absolutely.
So as a social media person, I'm against that. So I'm glad that you're talking about that.
Absolutely. Go ahead. So you take reviews with a grain of salt. after your treatment, results are not always apparent immediately. Sometimes it may take 2 days, sometimes 3 days, sometimes 2 weeks.
Sure.
So in the meantime, if someone posts a review that they're unhappy with the results, maybe the time frame that they're using isn't relevant to the true results. And most of the time, as I've seen, if there's a bad review, does the patient go back maybe a week later and change the review to a more positive reviews?
Yeah.
So there are disadvantages to only relying on reviews for your source of information. What you should do is, when you visit your medical provider, look at the certificates on the wall if there are any. But by looking at the certificates, you want to look at the date on the certificates. If you see there was a certification completion in 2006, this is 2017.
Oh yeah.
What else have occurred? What in between?
Updated.
There's always more to learn. I'm a cosmetic injector trainer.
Right.
I train all over the city.
Oh.
I train up and down the East Coast, and I visited many practices, many providers. And I will tell you, training is extremely important. Continuing medical education in the field of practice is very important.
And when you get called in for training, is it generally because the practitioners are starting in the field, or maybe they want to learn something new?
So I train beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So for any
So
purpose
all.
or reason. For example, there is a new indication of cannulas for Restylane Silk. Restylane Silk is an amazing product for perioral lines or the lip line, the vermilion border. Amazing product. However, there's a new device that's FDA approved that you can administer this product more effectively with less trauma.
Oh, I see.
This is a source of new training for every injector and medical provider.
Absolutely.
So every medical provider should undergo some form of training.
Ongoing training.
Whether it's online, person-to-person, convention, or seminars, to understand how to use a blunt tip cannula, which is actually a blunt tip needle, to administer this product for less side effects. So education is always necessary, and look at the certificates on the wall. Don't just see certificates. Look for the dates of completion or certification or training.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, tell us a little bit about how someone engages with you for training, or do you have public training? How does it work?
So typically the pharmaceutical industry would normally contact a trainer to administer trainings, and many times you have providers who call in to our office and request training. If you're requesting training, or I prefer one-on-one training. One-on-one training is really the way to go to sharpen your technique, to really understand the product and the different skin types and skin structures and facial types that are coming to you. When you're in a conference or large seminar, that's great for general knowledge.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you cannot possibly get the same.
Right.
You cannot possibly get the same amount of training as a one-on-one training. So one-on-one trainings, it's not as efficient because it's one-on-one, but it's absolutely efficient because you're training that provider to be the very best in what they're doing for their patients.
Okay. And a question for consumers that are out there wondering, what are some of the cautions or the negatives or warning flags, some things that you could advise them when they're considering this or contacting someone?
First of all, if a deal is unremarkable and it's too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true.
Yeah, I see those all the time.
Right. If you find that you're being...
And they also no one knows what they mean, like a syringe of Botox for X.
Absolutely.
How is a consumer supposed to even understand?
So here's something. If you are purchasing 20 units of Botox or Dysport to treat your glabellar zone, how do you know the concentration?
Yeah.
How do you know the dilution? How do you know how many units are being... how do you know that you're purchasing what you're asking for? You do not know. So we should trust. However, where there's money involved, you have to be careful.
Absolutely.
So consumer beware. And also, if you're having treatments done, that practice should really charge by the region or by the area and not by the units.
Oh.
You're paying for a great job. You're paying for a good medical outcome.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're not paying for 20 units and, okay, just put it here.
And you don't even know what it means.
You don't know what it means. So the consumer needs to understand what they're getting. Are they getting a good job or are they getting 20 units of Botox?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for people like you in the industry, being a thought leader, to be able to educate consumers, you know.
Absolutely.
Educate consumers. Just because you see a picture of Kim Kardashian or whomever, it doesn't mean you need to run and buy a Groupon 20 units of Botox, right?
Absolutely.
I think what you're saying is you need to take the time, do the research, ask the questions,
Absolutely.
and understand it's an investment. Right?
And this is why the consultation is the most important part of the visit. And your outcome, if your outcome is great, it's because you had a great consultation. You know, your outcome isn't great because you got a great deal. So if you find that you're shopping for the deal, more than likely you may not get the best result. So my philosophy is...
I personally think it's crazy. It would be like if I were shopping for surgery.
Absolutely.
I think you have to be that...
Absolutely.
Right, cautious and pragmatic about it.
If you see a breast reconstruction or a breast implantation for $1,500,
right,
it's
on the subway, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you know, you get what you pay for.
I say it every day.
Absolutely. And you really shouldn't. You know, you really should not be purchasing medical services based upon the bargain. If you're price shopping, you are going to get what you pay for.
Yes.
So,
the quality.
absolutely.
So if someone wants to find out about you or come in for a consultation, you know, tell us how your office runs and how they can get in touch with you.
Well, typically there's a small waiting period. However, many times we can accommodate you. You know, if you're in on any particular day, you know, so walk-ins are definitely accepted, and if it's possible for the procedure, we definitely will do so. But also just the website, defineyourlook.com.
Defineyourlook.com.
And just the Instagram handle, which is CCA Med Spa.
Okay.
So this is how the consumer can contact me for more information. Every consultation doesn't necessarily lead to a treatment. And therefore, you don't have to worry about spending money the first day when you're coming to see us. However, you will get enough information to be a smart consumer.
Okay, great. So one thing that I forgot to ask you that I think is really important is the whole subject of, you know, I do this talk at universities about digitizing your footprint.
Yes.
At Wharton and many other universities.
Yes.
Because what you put online has a large reflection on your career, right?
Absolutely.
And promotions and everything. So can you talk about the importance of your image and how it relates to the digital self? Because you're really in the thick of it.
Right. So I will say we're living in an image-driven society, coinciding with a digital age. And therefore, looks mean everything. And for example, if you're going to an interview, you're going to look your best. Why? Because you want the best outcome.
Yeah.
If you wake up in the morning and you don't love what you see, or you think you're looking more like your parents, you know, this is something you can change easily. You know, if you take some of the gray out of your hair, it's just as easy as putting some Dysport or Botox to relieve the lines in the forehead to make you look a little youthful. More energetic or healthier looking. So women typically do the treatments for more of a beauty standpoint and to feel good about themselves. Men do as well. However, men do it more, in my opinion, to look as healthy as possible as well. Right. So between the image and the digital age, we're really in a tight spot. You know, you want to look your best.
Absolutely.
Your career depends upon your image to many degrees. You know, we can try to deny it, but really your image. Your image speaks volumes, and your presentation speaks volumes. And a great presentation can lead to a great career or a great way of life as time goes forward.
Absolutely. So I love that you said that, and I think that's why, in my opinion, I wanted you on this show to talk about this, because I see it. you know, as a speaker and someone that's out there. I see the importance and the need to understand that it's not something scary when you're in the right hands.
Absolutely.
And it's something that might be inevitable for you.
Absolutely.
So I really want to thank you. And again, can you just say your website so the audience can...
defineyourlook.com. So that's where you can reach us and hopefully be on your way to the best looking you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, and I know that you did, please hit subscribe on iTunes and on YouTube. You can also support us through Patreon and becoming a board member. As a board member, you will get early access to episodes, top 5 lists from our guests, as well as various action plans, such as action plans for personal branding online, LinkedIn marketing, and much, much more.